I thought I would revisit the pony Handy as he's doing really well in his in-hand program. You can see that his flexions are much more clear and much more steady. He's accepting the contact well and moving the jaw in a relaxed way, not putting his tongue over the bit. So I'm very pleased with all of his flexions. I wanted to go over a little bit the program that I like each driving animal to have, as Handy's education is definitely going to be used to be a carriage driving pony. Before I even will ground drive or step behind a pony, I want him to have at least this basic program. So I will show you through this video the flexions that we start with and what we have to do later on. There you can see that he was twisting the pole, and what I did was I lifted his head a little higher to straighten that. Here I am reviewing the process called action-reaction, or having him reach out and down to the contact in the bit on both sides of his mouth. It's helpful to begin the idea of them extending the neck, even if they're a driving pony. Because ponies this size are not able to be ridden, we need ways to help adjust and change the way the horse's balance goes. So here I'm doing a counterbend circle with a flexion to the left while taking his shoulders to the right. They need to be able to do this, or else in the carriage they will constantly be falling in the direction that you're trying to flex them. I've changed to a flexion away from me so that I can work on both sides while I'm working on one side of his body. Here I'm asking him for what is called a neck rein turn. Now he is flexed to the right while going over the left shoulder. I'm blending here into a flexion on a straight line outside of the bend. You can see that all of these exercises lead to the horse being able to change his weight laterally while being flexed in either direction. Very important for a horse to maintain his balance. I'm working on the inside of the flexion to see if he can, from the other side, flex to the right while the shoulders go to the left. It's important for them to have equal mobility and flexibility on both sides, or else you'll have a horse that is constantly crooked between the shafts. It's the same problem you would have if you ride them. A carriage animal, even a small one, deserves the same quality of education. Now I've changed to working outside of the bend and using a neck rein turn to take him from a flexion to the left with his shoulders over the right. Mobility of the shoulders and flexibility. And I have changed to a flexion on a straight line from the outside of the bend. One last bit of a neck rein turn, and then a halt for a break. Before I ever step behind a pony, I walk beside the pony. If he makes mistakes here, I can easily step back up to the previous position and help him understand what I want. I find this a very informative and easily teachable way to show them what I want from the contact. Even though I can't do this from the carriage, this is an excellent way to keep working on their balance. I'm doing a neck rein turn from this position as well, moving the shoulders to the right with a slight left bend. I have now switched my whip to the inside so that I can touch the horse on the inside of the bend to show him that I want him to move away from the whip aid. Here I can clearly begin to educate him to touches on the side, meaning that I would like him to move over as you would use a leg aid. I work this way from both sides of the pony's body. Here I'm starting in my basic position with my hand on his withers and the whip on the far side of the horse. I want to establish walking to the left with a regular left bend. Even walking like this is very educational to the pony because I'm teaching him that I want him to help me maintain the contact even when I'm farther away from his mouth. Something else that is key for me and for the pony to understand is that I can be on his left side while he is flexed and walking to the right with a right bend. I want these things to all be entirely clear. And here I am returning to the counterbend turn with a neck rein. Flexion to the right with the shoulders coming to the left. He's doing an excellent job, seeing as we've only been back at work for a couple of weeks. Again, I want to clarify the whip aid, where I touch him on the left side of his body to ask him to move to the right with a left bend. This needs to be clear, or else the pony will tend to fall to the inside in both directions, usually one worse than the other. He's very clear here, doing a very nice job stepping away from the touches from the whip. It becomes a little bit different when I step behind him, but I found that if I take this half step, they do much better and get much less upset about the whip aids. A clear halt and rein back are also essential educational elements. You'll see me adjust my halt to his, because if I act as an anchor, I will definitely cause pain in his mouth. I need to be where he's at in his training. Also essential to a driving pony is the fitness from lunging. But lunging in a counterbent frame with the shoulders falling inward is not physically positive, nor does it help improve their balance. So even though it's not perfect, we are working towards an aid that says, please take your shoulders away while allowing your flexion to come to the inside. Help me to help you have a better balance on the lunge. Oftentimes, when the animal understands this, taking his shoulders slightly out and his nose slightly in, he will extend the neck and relax. This is also a nice exercise for them, loosening up their entire body. He's obviously not quite as clear about the flexion in the canter, but if we don't practice it and then come back to the trot for clarity, he'll never have an opportunity to learn. Then there's also the obvious distractions of an open door and things happening outside. Lunging while asking the horse to be properly flexed towards you is a great way to regain their balance and their attention. This direction is definitely and clearly more difficult for him to flex to the right while taking his shoulders to the left to the outside of the circle. So this side will need more work. I ask him to canter. Clearly he's counterbending. This definitely needs some clarity, some work, and that's okay. I ask him a few times if he will please take his shoulders away in the trot. He has a hard time, so I bring him back to the walk to show him the response I want. Him learning is more important. So here I ask step away, and he finally clearly does. Good job, little dude.